Come on, get a move on! Form a nice, neat, orderly line behind the rope. That's it, plenty of room.
Wow. Old stick. Get nicer. The rain's gone.
Right, good day to you, good people.
Good day.
Good day.
That was really pathetic. We try again. Good day, good people.
Good day.
Marginally better. Welcome to Cardiff Castle on this glorious sunny day. For it is sunny. It is the Feast of Lammastide, which means, following several months of excellent weather, we have managed to pull in a bumper harvest. And therefore, this being a royal castle belonging to the English crown, we have come here on behalf of the Duke of Gloucester, Richard, brother to the King, Edward, to make sure that you Welsh people pay the appropriate taxes. Wasn't much of a boo there, was it? All the fight has clearly gone out of you. So, what I will do, to encourage you to pay when asked, I will demonstrate to you these soldiers who not only fight on the fields of battle and defend this great land of ours, but will also act as the local police force and are well skilled in the arts of coercion, as we will demonstrate. What I would ask you to do is stay behind the rope. This is for your own safety. We are English billmen, we are large and fearsome, and we carry sharp, pointy sticks. If one of those sharp, pointy sticks should go into a small child or a young woman who is overcome with emotion and charges onto this field, the paperwork is immense, trust me. The paperwork for a death is far less than the paperwork for a wound. You have been warned. Drill the men. Shoulder! The men you see are liveried and maintained men. They are professional soldiers, not levy troops. They serve the House of Gloucester, which is why they wear the Murray and Azure of York, and the badge is either the White Rose of York and the White Boar of Richard himself. That is so that we know on the field of battle who is friend and who is foe. These men have fought with me in many campaigns. Even so, it is still imperative that I drill them regularly. I issue commands. Infantry! Three! And my
Retreat!
who is my non-commissioned officer, issues those commands to the troops. He makes sure that they do what needs to be done. I know that I need to train and drill these men in a series of manoeuvres, because unlike you lot, I can read. And I read the writings of a Roman general called Vegetius, and the writings of a French woman. Yes, a woman who in 1415 wrote a book on the art of warfare and the art of chivalry. She basically stole everything that Vegetius wrote and put it in a 1415 style. But I read it and execute these manoeuvres. It means that on the field of battle they respond quickly. And imagine, if you would, the noise of 10,000 soldiers going at it hammer and tongs. It is vitally important that they hear what I say and move correctly.
Stand! Front rank, crouch! Second rank, ready your staves!
This manoeuvre was taught to me by the Duke himself. It is how we prepare for horse. Cavalry is not oft used on an English field anymore, but it is when up against those horrible French. The horses, imagine a ton of horse charging towards my soldiers. They kneel and plant the staves, the butts of their staves, in God's good earth. As the horse charges towards them, the soft underparts arrive at the point of the bill. Its momentum carries the horse onto the front ray, at which point the rear ray will charge their staves high, attempting to flick the rider gracefully over the top, where he will be dispatched with a dagger through the eye slit on his helmet. This is a manoeuvre I've yet to try in anger, because it has proven very difficult to get these men to kneel down in front of several hundred charging horses. One last manoeuvre I will show you in this phase. You will never see used for real. This is because we are an English and a Yorkist army, and this is a defensive manoeuvre.
Children, understand it!
This is used when we are losing. As we never lose, you will not see it. However, for your entertainment, it is a schiltron.
What's the key?
The soldiers form around the most important part, which could be the standard or me. They can then move to an edge of a field where we can escape should we choose to do so. I have actually used this manoeuvre this year up at the Castle of Richmond, where we were fighting knights on horseback. It works. Horses don't like sharp pointy things. It is effective.
One way on way. Open order, show these good people your weapons!
Right along the way, gentlemen. I shouldn't, of course, call them gentlemen, as they are soldiers, and the gentleman hasn't yet been invented. These are billmen. They are probably the commonest and most useful soldier upon the field of battle for actually getting the job done, which is killing people, notwithstanding what archers might tell you. They are armed with a padded jack. This is up to 30 layers of linen sewn together. It will stop a cut from a sword. It will stop an arrow at distance. A well-made one will stand up on its own when first put together. Some of them wear breastplates. These can either be munition or taken from somebody you have killed. Upon their hats they wear sallets. A few wear kettle helms, but this is the most popular. It is shaped and fluted. The idea is as the blows come in, they are deflected away from the body, away from the head. Some have visors, some have open-faced. As I said, these are professional soldiers, whichever suits their style of fighting. The weapons they have are bills. They are developed from the farming implements that you use at home. They have been adapted for war and placed upon a long stave so that they can be used two-handed to give them the reach and power. Each of the spikes and flutes has been extended, so they now have a spear point for thrusting. They have a hook for hooking around the limbs of your opponent and pulling them to the floor. And they have a vicious back spike, which is used to hack down upon your opponent. This is a fearsome weapon. Works very well in a block. Refill me, Ray, gentlemen. One way on me! Who wants to see some fighting?
Yeah.
No, they don't want to see any fighting, clearly. No enthusiasm for fighting. Who wants to see some fighting?
Yeah!
A bit better. What we're going to do is change weapons. There is a very good reason for this. Swap the weapons over. I mentioned Vegetius. Now the weapons you see here, and if you come into our camp later, you can hold the weapons, feel them, are actually quite light, but very sharp. If we trained with these weapons, they would stab one another. And then all of the investment I have made in time and money is wasted. Therefore, we train with rebated weapons. Not only are these weapons rebated, but they're also heavier. And I train my men with heavy weapons because that builds stamina and endurance and speed. And then when we change to our killing weapons, we can fight faster and longer. We'll move them out to the middle somewhere.
Got it? Face that way. You bet.
What I'll show you first is a couple of billmen. You'll get an idea of how the bill is used. You train to parry and block and to stab. You try and hook your opponent's weapon. And ultimately you try and get a killing blow or a stabbing blow into them. Please remember as you watch this, the aim is not to dance around your opponent exchanging pleasantries. The aim is to kill them as fast as you possibly can. Bearing in mind there will be at least another 5,000 people waiting to take their place. You can if you want. That was not a smart move by this billman, because he has just put the vintner on his back. The vintner not only issues commands on the field, he also issues all the chores on the camp as well. So I suspect he will have his retribution later. As you will see, bill on bill needs a lot of room to swing that pole arm around and strike your opponent. Imagine, however, you're on the field of battle. There are maybe a front of 100 billmen, 8 rays deep. As the first ray engages, I will stab you, because you are small and insignificant. As I get closer, I can no longer stab that person, I stab the one behind. Meanwhile, the one behind me is stabbing the person in front. As I get closer, I stab the third ray back. You're starting to get the hang of this, I feel. So, as we get closer and closer, you're reaching further and further back. And what that means is you have to fight as a unit, not as an individual. There is no room to swing your pole arm. If I swung my bill like they were, I'd be taking out the two rays behind me. All they're going to do is push me onto the front ray of my enemy. Not a good move. So, 3 threes. What we do is, and this is just a small section to give you a taste, we fight as a triplet. So not only do you fight the person ahead of you, you fight the ones either side. You fight as a team, you protect one another. And this is on that first engagement. This is front ray, fighting front ray.
Have a try.
This is not choreographed. The aim is to strike your opponent. If you come into the camp later and ask nicely, some of the soldiers will show you their bruises. Bruises are God's way of telling you to fight better. Throwing away is death. So think about those fighting in, you're pushing in, you're getting closer, can't swing your bill anymore, you're right in close. Imagine a front of 100 people fighting one another, maybe for about 10 or 15 minutes. A couple of things will have happened. There will be blood all over the grass. It is slick and uncomfortable underfoot. There will also be entrails, noise, screaming. There will be all sorts of things that people get rid of when they're fighting and dying. And as you fight, you start to get tired. You feel a bit tired, your arms move more slowly. Suddenly you think it's getting dark because all of your vision starts to collapse in. It is not getting dark, you are not getting tired, you are dying. That's what it feels like. It is rare with a bill such as this that you will get a killing blow first off. That's why we wear armour and padding. So what you get is lots of cuts. What happens with lots of cuts? You lose blood. As you lose blood, the adrenaline that you had to start, the fear that got you going, wanes, and you will die. So imagine stood in the front range of a battle in the 15th century, English person fighting English person. And don't get excited, you Welsh, you were all English then. Get over it. And you realise, crammed in, you cannot move your arms, you can't get your breath, and you are dying. What a glorious way to go, eh? Right, not everybody fought with bills. I'm not going to talk about men with sticks and string, other people will do that. But to anchor the ends of the line, to hold them, to stop those people who think they might be dying, taking a step backwards, I have swordsmen. Swordsmen are my mobile shock troops. 2 longsword. There are various types of sword that can be used. It depends on the space you have and your skill. Now we've called out, in the black harness there you'll see is a man-at-arms. He has experience of fighting with the longsword and he has picked an opponent. Now we know how to fight because there are fighting manuals. Now you'll have seen some of the pretty boys dancing over there in their shiny stuff who will have talked about those fighting manuals and how they gracefully move around an arena. This, as I said, is about killing your opponent on the field of battle. You start slow as you learn. There are a number of cuts and a number of parries that you respond to. Again, it requires movement and fluidity. The aim is not, a la Hollywood, to fight nicely. You hit me, I'll hit you, and we'll dance backwards and forwards, hang off a chandelier and all that tosh. The aim, because this is tiring, is to get in and kill your opponent, again, as fast as you can. Preserve your energy and then pick the next one. Talhofer fighting moves are all about killing with 1 or 2 strokes. These swords can be used two-handed to give the stronger blow, or they can use one-handed to gain reach. Experience. There is an account at the tail end of the 100 Years' War where an English knight put a two-handed blow into a French knight. The sword went in at the shoulder through his armour and exited through his hip, through his armour again. So I would ask you to imagine the noise that French knight made as he slid apart. As you can see, they've now got faster. Confidence grows. However, training and experience is everything. You will notice that no soldiers carry shields. You will not find a shield on the field of battle. It's heavy, it's cumbersome, and any billman can just tip it aside and stab you. Arrows close in will go through them. They have no value. But there is a residual form of shield that we still carry, called the buckler. This small, round steel plate that's held in a hand. And with it, a single-handed arming sword. The buckler is defensive. You can use it to parry a blow. It is also offensive. You can use it to smash your opponent in the face. You can sharpen the edge of the buckler as well, so it slashes. You can, of course, throw it at your opponent. Like I said, it's not chivalrous. The aim is to find an opening and exploit it.
I yield. Never yield!
See, we're English, Yorkist, we don't yield. Right. Last, but by no means least, the dagger. Remember I talked about us getting close in. Really close on those rays. You can't fight, you can't move. All you're trying to do is fight your opponent or stab them with a dagger. There are various styles of dagger. Some of them have got rude names, so I'm not going to shout them out here, but if you want to come over to the camp, they'll talk you through them. Again, the chaps will show you slow time how to use this weapon. The aim is to get it into the armpit, groin, neck or eye of your opponent. Anywhere you can find an opening. Anybody who's done any knife fighting, and I understand Saturday nights in Cardiff can get pretty testing, will know just how fast it is as a weapon. He's fighting back, but he's actually got about 10 stab wounds in the back of his neck. Right, grip on the ray. Right, good people, that concludes our very short display, and I hope I've given you a flavour for some of the techniques that you find on the field of battle. Please feel free to come into the camp where we can take you through in slower time if you're interested, all of the weapons you've seen and more, but also all aspects of life in a household of the late 15th century. Hopefully over there it won't be quite so humid, or we can stand in the shade and talk to you. But for now, please enjoy the rest of your day at Cardiff Castle. We've been Company Eccleshire portraying the Gloucester household. Thank you very much.
Last night.
Right, you can cross the road now as well into the house.
Sleep on your legs. Stop it.